How close are we to World War III?
When we bombed Fort Dow, there was like another round of people freaking out about World War III. When an American president says this country cannot ever have a nuclear weapon, you kind of put yourself in a situation where the American president has to.
Do you think that China and Russia would have used Iran as a proxy?
They signed this 100-year agreement or something, didn't they? Iran and China. Even if they lost completely Iran's access to Iran's oil and gas, they still would be okay.
I think all of this stuff plays into some type of a master plan.
I really support what Israel's been doing against Iran because we need to not have to worry about that anymore.
How many terrorist organizations is Iran using as proxies? Do you have any idea?
Well, there's Iraq. I mean, you want to call these little groups in Iraq like one. There's a couple like kind of key ones, but they've changed, merged, etc. over time. But you've got the Houthis in Yemen, you've got Hezbollah in Lebanon, you've got Gaza, you've got Hamas, which is funny because, not funny, but a lot of people were saying, oh, well, they're Muslim Brotherhood, i.e. Sunni, so therefore they can't be aligned with Iran. They can't be accepting like money and training and stuff from Iran because they're Sunni. Well, go back to what we were talking about, Al-Qaeda leadership being in Iran. Like, those guys work with each other. And this was another example where Hamas was clearly taking, they were clearly partners with Iran, and Iran was clearly providing funding and training and equipment. So anyway, those are like the main ones. But, Hezbollah is a global organization. Obviously, they're based in Lebanon, but you have Hezbollah operating Venezuela. They're operating in that tri-border region, and historically they have been for a long time. And then, of course, you have the Quds Force, which is the only Iranian one, and they're and I'm sorry, Hezbollah also operating in Syria. They had a big operation in Syria. So yeah, I mean they've been wreaking havoc globally for such a long time. And this is the same organization. Hezbollah killed Marines in Beirut in the 80s, held a station chief hostage and tortured him and murdered him. This is the same. Anyway, all that to say, they built, and Qasem Soleimani was the mastermind behind this. They had Israel essentially surrounded. They built this huge terror network, but it wasn't only for Israel because they used it to attack us a lot. And there was no real successor to him. There was no one else like him. So taking him out was quite significant. But yeah, a lot of people freaked out and said it was going to be World War III, and that never happened. And there's like very little reflection I've seen from those people who said that about why that didn't happen and what does that mean about their own assumptions. And maybe I should revise what I think. Because when we attacked Fort Dow recently, it was like the same thing all over again. Oh, World War III. I mean, obviously.
When we attacked who? Sorry.
Fort Dow, the Iranian nuclear program, when we bombed their nuclear, when we bombed Fort Dow, that was, there was like another round of people freaking out about World War III. And
well, I mean, I can, if you don't mind, I'd like to share my opinion on that. But
Great.
I mean, I think it was just a different, the Soleimani days, the geopolitics was a lot different. And, today we have, I think a lot of people know about BRICS. You know about BRICS, throwing the US dollar off the world reserve currency. And we have Russia, Ukraine going on. We have China. We have the China problem. also China, Taiwan. Then we have all the shit going on in the Middle East. And if you look at the BRICS alliance, I mean, it's Russia, it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and the last time I checked, there were like 22 other countries that had joined that. And and so right there, Russia, China, Iran, I believe is part of that. You know what I mean? So China, Russia, Iran. It's I think at least for me, when I look at it, I'm like, oh shit, like we're not just messing with Iran right now. We're also messing with China, with Russia, with India, with all these other players, that are also nuclear powers, and so it's not just. But I wasn't as tuned in back then either with Soleimani as I am now, and so that's my fear. Is it maybe a little bit of a bold statement here, but I mean it seems like the counter to NATO. You know what I mean? And what do you think? How close are we to World War III?
I don't know. I mean, hopefully very far away. What do I think of BRICS? I mean, I think they're trying to make BRICS a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's yet. It's still developing. I think there are a few, if I recall correctly, there are a couple of countries that have actually pulled out of BRICS
I haven't
recently.
heard that.
I think they have, which is great. So BRICS is TBD. I mean, we're still the United States. We're definitely weaker. We're definitely we've been headed in a bad direction. But when an American president says this country cannot ever have a nuclear weapon,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of put yourself in a situation where the American president has to, if they're about to get that, the country's about to get a nuclear weapon, and the American president has said they can't get a nuclear weapon,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of put yourself in a box. And again, I'm glad he did for all the reasons that we discussed. But BRICS doesn't mean that any one of those countries is going to be like, how dare you attack our great partner? They don't have it's a economic partnership right now. There's no real like military alliance behind it like there is with Article 5 in NATO, where like if anyone attacks a NATO partner, then all NATO partners are supposed to like come to their aid, which in my opinion, I don't actually know if that would ever happen. Sorry.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you there, but do you think that China, Russia could have used, let's say that, I'm kind of alluding the fact that Iran would have blown up a little bigger than that situation would have blown up a little
Yeah.
bit bigger than it would. I mean, do you think that China and Russia would have used Iran as a proxy to get, to smuggle weapons in there, to aid them, to train them, to outfit them, if that would have turned into something bigger than what actually happened?
I mean, they have proven themselves to not be allies. They're like, it's a cynical partnership.
How have they proven not to be allies?
Well, they didn't come to their aid, did they? Israel was hammering them for like months and months, and achieved air superiority over a period of days. And like China and Russia didn't come and help Iran. So if they were real allies, then they would have come to their aid, right? That's what an ally does. So I think it also showed that the fear that a lot of people have of this, like they signed this 100-year agreement or something, didn't they? Iran and China and Russia. I believe they signed 50 years, maybe.
I don't know about that.
They
What's the
signed.
agreement?
They signed an agreement. They made there was like very public that they were going to cooperate on all kinds of things, and they're real partners. But it's turned out so far to be economic in nature and nothing else. I mean, even China. So China what does China get from a partnership with Iran? It gets
A proxy against us.
a proxy against us. Yes. But it gets like directly, it gets energy. It gets like, oil. But it doesn't get the majority of it from Iran. I mean, China has enormous energy needs. It gets the majority, it gets its energy from Iran, but mostly Saudi Arabia.
We talk a lot on this show about protecting your family and being prepared for the worst case scenario. But there's one area of protection that a lot of us, myself included, for a long time tend to procrastinate on, and that's life insurance. I've had term life insurance for several years now, and I remember the exact moment I realized I needed it. It was right around the time my son was born. I started thinking about the mortgage, the kids' education, and all the expenses I'd want covered if the unthinkable happens and I'm not here to provide for them anymore. But having a plan in place is what actually allows you to breathe easier. If you've been putting this off because you think it's too expensive or too much of a hassle, you need to check out Fabric by Gerber Life. Fabric by Gerber Life is term life insurance you can get done today, made for busy parents like you, all online, on your schedule, right from your couch. You could be covered in under 10 minutes with no health exam required. A lot of people assume their work-life insurance is enough, but most policies don't provide nearly enough coverage and don't follow you if you leave your job. Fabric offers affordable, high-quality life insurance like $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. Fabric is partnered with Gerber Life, trusted by families just like yours for over 50 years. And Fabric is rated excellent on Trustpilot with over 1,900 five-star reviews. There's no risk, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can cancel at any time. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/srclips. That's meetfabric.com/srclips. meetfabric.com/srclips. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions.
Even if they lost completely Iran's access to Iran's oil and gas, they still would be okay. So that's also a calculation for them. It's like, is it worth it for you to go into like a full-on kinetic situation with the United States right now? Like, they want to do that at a time and place of their choosing, and like, this ain't it. They have their grand plans, and but they would love to see us dragged down into the Middle East again, because that was so beneficial for them the last time. But that's why we can never do that again. And everyone knows
How was it beneficial for them?
We drained our blood and treasure. We're very demoralized. A lot of the infighting that is occurring here in the U.S. is all beneficial to them. We're fighting ourselves. Like, have you noticed that X is so crazy recently?
Have I noticed?
It's so crazy. But there's so many foreign bot operations, and they're focused on like dividing us. And I wish, like, Elon, please put I think there's a way of identifying, even if they use VPN, like, of identifying where these accounts are coming from. It would be so helpful if they could start being flagged, and at least we would know, like, MAGA American flag is actually based in China. Super helpful. But anyway, I think I'm not saying that these countries are not in a real partnership, but so far it hasn't extended to anything military. And they're certainly not going to risk their own positions for Iran. Also very helpful to highlight the fact that Russia's air defense system completely failed against our stuff, which the Israelis have. And I mean, the Israelis obviously have their own stuff, but against like our F-35, we won. Good to know.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not even saying a kinetic operation, but I mean, the China sends all the precursors to fentanyl into Mexico, and that comes up. And I think all of this stuff plays into some type of a master plan.
I wouldn't be surprised if it did. I mean, China is really focused on these gray zone operations, and they're killing. I mean, I guess bad analogy, appropriate analogy, they're killing it. I mean, look at all of these people folded over all over our cities. That's China,
Yeah.
and they're very effective at what they do, and they've been partnering with the cartels. And they're not only are they providing precursor chemicals, but they're also the money launderers for the cartels.
How so?
Cartels launder their money through these Chinese gangs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and sanctioned by the CCP. Yep. And now,
Did you know? You had mentioned you were. Was it DIA? You were doing the Americas. Mm-hmm. Is that? Did you know this all the way back
no,
then?
I didn't. No, I've learned that in the last couple of years. I don't know if they were doing that back then, honestly, but they are now, big time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't. It's hard to think like them because we're so reactionary and immediate, and they appear to be very good at a longer game.
What they've been doing is very deliberate, and that's why it's important. That's another reason why I really support what Israel's been doing against Iran, because we need to not have to worry about that anymore. And just like willing it away doesn't change the fact that there is a real threat there, and they have been killing Americans, and we can't take our eye off the ball. But we have another bigger problem, and I don't disagree. I mean, there's so many, especially like veterans of our era, are like, enough, no more, like no more Middle East. I feel you, and I would like for this to be resolved, and I see a way that it can be resolved. So hopefully soon. But yes, we need to be as deliberate as China is being. But there's a number of things that we still have to do that we're not doing yet, unfortunately.
Beck, I'm sorry I'm switching gears. I just have all these things popping in my head. But, we talk about with Sarah, she says that there are at least 1,000 sleeper cells, terrorist organizations within the U.S. borders right now. Do you have any insight into that or opinions or?
I mean, I don't know. Anything's possible, but even at their height, Al Qaeda and ISIS didn't have those numbers. So I'm skeptical.
Do you think they're strengthening again?
They absolutely are. They absolutely are.
Why do you think so many GWAT veterans are they don't want to go back to war? They don't want to go back over there. They're done with the Middle East. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because of all the shit that we just talked about with Iraq? It was all for nothing.
Yeah.
In Afghanistan, which was a loss.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, I think that the GWAT generation is just so frustrated with, we talked about stricter ROEs. We talked about all kinds of stuff, and then when you do that, it's like, what, now you want me to go over there and do this fucking
We
job
funded
again?
the Taliban.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And apparently we still are. I don't know. But I think.
Now, I think Rubio stopped it, but it's
Right.
temporary. But it has to get through the Senate. So, Tim Sheehy, please hurry up and get that damn thing pushed through.
Amen. But yeah, I do think ultimately that that they're not wrong. I mean, I agree with that sentiment that we can't do that again. And it was in many ways a huge waste and created bigger problems. But that doesn't mean that we can't address like we now should stop addressing any threat. There's a balance.
Yeah.
And we can't send big armies to address threats. First of all, it doesn't work. We're not good at it. And second of all, we have bigger fish to fry. But again, maybe I'm like trying to thread the needle too much, but what I'm trying to say is, I'm not isolationist. I look at where we've come from, what we've done, all the things that I personally saw and learned. I agree. I agree with you and with everyone else who's been speaking out about no new wars, but I don't think that's what this is. I think taking like a targeted strike is different from that. And the fact that Israel is doing all of this other, like, that's what partners are for. Like, they're helping us. Like, let's let them finish what they're doing. Now, doing that in the most humanitarian way possible means finishing it as quickly as possible. The more this drags on, the more people suffer, the more people die. You have this horrible, tragic situation unfolding in Gaza. People are doing their best. We have, U.S. humanitarian workers there now, which, it's hard to see the way things are organized right now, how that's going to be successful and not like a PR disaster ultimately for us. But I hope for the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm rooting for us.
It's just fucking crazy, man. I mean, all these other terrorist organizations have ties to Iran. I'm sure the Taliban has ties to Iran one way or another as well. We're funding them, who are funded probably by Iran, but we're bombing Iran. And it's like, dude, pick what are we doing here? Like, we're fucking funding the people that killed us for 20 fucking years, like, who are tied to Iran, and then we go and bomb
You said it.
Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what the fuck are we doing, man? It just makes no sense. Like, how about you stop the fucking funding and
or if
it's just
not,
asinine.
Why don't you tell the American people why you're continuing it? Why don't you justify it? That's the other thing. Like, I would love to hear from people like, we're doing X, here's why. No one does that anymore. Remember when we used to have like our leaders address the American people and explain, I'm doing this, here's why. I would love for that to, not that anyone would probably believe it anymore, because we all have we have problems with authority now, given everything that's happened to us. But, I still think at least give it a try. It's hard to know who to believe these days. It really is.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.